How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is a vlog coming to you with another video on Baki Hanma versus Kengan Ashura movie. Now, today I would like to discuss a potential fight, a promise, or let me say a tease between these two. Gaia from Baki versus Muteba Gizenga. Now, before we get into this, be sure to like the video and subscribe. Alter ego of Nomura versus the Genocider. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you guys right now that I am excited to do this one, and the reason being the fact that I dug a little deeper to get to know these two a little bit than what I normally do. Let me just say that I dug in deep. I reached a little more on these two, and from what I have gathered, I am so excited to do this one, and I hope that when they finally, or if they finally, actually I'm gonna say when, okay, I'm gonna speak it out there, it will manifest, okay, when they finally give us a second movie, Baki Hanma versus Kengan Ashura movie part 2. These two got to fight. It is important, it is crucial, it got to happen, it must come to fruition that these two will have to take each other on. Now, first here, let's talk about Gaia. Now, ladies and gentlemen, based on what I have found, I would like to share it with you guys. So please bear me some patience, because I would like to give you guys a little history on these two, a little rundown on these two. Now, let's talk about Gaia. Gaia is the leader of a mercenary group who fought Baki Hanma. In the past, he was a crazy soldier called Nomura who loved killing. However, after facing the ultimate fear, when faced with a firing squad, he lost his hair, and the personality of Gaia manifested from Nomura, as well as gaining supersensory ability. As Nomura, he is the best described as a weakling who acts as a medic for the team. However, when the situation is right and his adrenaline starts pumping, the Gaia personality will manifest itself to fight. He utterly despises Yujiro Hanma. Now, I wonder why he despises Yujiro Hanma, but let's keep going. Stating he is nothing but a thrill seeker that fights for pleasure. Okay, that makes sense. He fights Baki and honorably loses to him. When he crossed paths with Yujiro, Gaia told him that Baki is a better warrior than Yujiro can ever be before the two fight, even though he loses miserably. Okay, he is a calm and confident person. In the battle against Baki, he even called himself the god of the battlefield. On the other hand, Gaia is quite an obvious character, and it's hard to tell if his huge self-confidence was just pure honesty and prance, or to some extent a play that was supposed to confuse Baki. Gaia is generally composed, but he also showed great rage when Baki managed to deal with all of his ace up his sleeve. His three philosophies when fighting are: 1. Take care of your body and give it a rest. 2. Free your body from the control of your mind. And finally, use part of your surroundings as a weapon. Now, the reason why I'm giving this it will make sense to the things that I'm going to talk about. So that's why I want you guys to exercise some patience, okay, with me, because this is interesting between these two. Now, this is a personality and a little bit of history, a little bit of rundown on Gaia from Baki. Now, let's switch over to Muteba Gizenga. Muteba is a tall, very muscular black man who whitened out eyes and whose entire head and body are covered in numerous tribal tattoos. While fighting in the Kengan Annihilation Tournament, he wears only a pair of black Speedos, except for between rounds, where he typically wears high-class formal wear such as his white suit topped with a fedora and sunglasses. Muteba is a rather calm and composed individual and is known to take pleasure in the manhunt of his opponents. He believes in the ideal that people without money or power should know their place. He also has a voracious sexual appetite. Despite enjoying the thrill of a manhunt and also of fighting strong opponents, Muteba values his survival above everything else and will not continue a pursuit if he feels it is not worth the risk. Despite his delight in the manhunt, Muteba is offended when compared to serial killers like Miguro Masaki and does not attempt to kill his other opponents as there is no reason to. He shows respect to the fighting spirit and also of Sekibayashi Jun and is generally friendly with everyone he meets. Despite his grim profession and composed attitude, Muteba almost always has a smile and a jovial comment for any situation. Muteba is also a fashion conscious, considering himself a sapir and dresses in fancy suits in his off times. Muteba served as a mercenary during several African conflicts, including one of the Ivorian Civil Wars, and lost his vision during one of the conflicts. At some point in the past, Muteba crossed blades with and fought against Kor Horio of the Kur clan, while he was bodyguarding a local warlord. He eventually abandoned this warlord when the latter's finances ran out, allowing Horoi to assassinate him. Now, ladies and gentlemen, with everything that you've heard, you can understand why. You can now understand a little bit of the reason why I was a bit excited to do this. These two are very, very similar. Their history are very, very similar. Both of these individuals have almost the same personality. They like to manhunt. And they have fought in wars. They have their own philosophy. They are honorable fighters. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that when it comes down to doing what they have to do, they will have to do what they have to do when it comes down to it. Now, let's look at how Gaia fights. The last fight Gaia had was with Sikorsky. Okay, his fight with Sikorsky is due to the fact that that is his latest fight on record. If I'm not mistaken, if I made a mistake, please feel free to correct me on the comment section. But I think I am right on point this was the last fight Gaia had. I don't think he has had any fight ever since his fight on Baki. If I made a mistake on that, please correct me on the comment section. Due to his size, one can intend to underestimate him, if I would say. One can intend to look down on him due to his size, due to his height. But don't let that fool you, because Gaia has some tricks up his sleeve. Now, Gaia is a resourceful fighter. He was able to box Psychoski into a corner, although Psychoski already fought Jack Hanma prior to this, right? He fought Jack Hanma, and Jack Hanma could not take his stupidity or the way he fights, so he left and gave the right to Gaia to take care of Psychoski, right? So Gaia got in and literally was able to box Psychoski into a corner. Psychoski could not understand what was going on. The only thing he understood was the pain he was feeling, because since he wanted to play dirty with Jack Hanma, Jack decided to give him someone who will match his dirty ways of fighting, which is Gaia. Gaia has fought in wars. He knows and have the experience to use whatever resourceful way to fight against your opponent. Gaia was using sand with embedded tooth, right? The tooth of the fighters that were knocked out, he embedded it into the sand and was using that and whipping it mercilessly at Psychoski. He has other trick too, where he, uses dust to kind of disappear for a little bit to somehow, some way restrain his visibility, right, using dust. And that was very, very successful, and he used it to defeat and forced Psychoski to accept defeat. Now, Psychoski is not an easy person to force, to accept defeat, because that was the reason why those 4 or 5 criminals got out of prison. And I'm still waiting of an arc where they will showcase those 4 criminals, because I remember on Baki, Son of Ogre or something, I think there was an episode on Baki where those 4 criminals got themselves out of prison. And before they got themselves out of prison or whatnot, they have been training mercilessly, and they were heading to Tokyo to torment the fighters over there. I cannot wait for them to bring an arc, or to bring back or show us what happened after these fighters got out of prison once again to torment the fighters in Tokyo, because Tokyo will see the wrath of these fighters. So going back to the main point, Gaia is a resourceful fighter. He has experience, in the fighting arena. He also has experience in the forest, in wars, he knows tactics, various tactics to be effective against his opponent. Now, moving to the other side, Muteba Gizenga. Now, although Gaia is very resourceful, Muteba is a different fighter in his own way. Muteba, first of all, Muteba doesn't see the way normal people sees. He sees by hearing, he sees by vibration, he knows where his opponent is based on vibration, sound, and effects, and also emotions and feelings. His fight, I'm gonna use the fight he had on the 12th episode on Kengan. His fight with Muguro. That's the fight I'm going to use for us to see and understand how Muteba fights. Now, from the beginning of his fight with Miguro, we can sense that Miguro is not a regular fighter. Okay, Miguro is not a regular fighter. Meguro has advanced himself so much that he has turned off his pain sensory. Meguro is a killer. Meguro does whatever he needs to do to beat his opponent, and due to the fact that he has his pain sensory turned off, that was the reason why we got the type of fight we got on Kengan episode 12. Muteba Gizenga versus Meguro. That fight was an awesome fight. It was cringy as hell, but it was an awesome fight. It was exciting. You cannot sit one place when watching this fight, because let me tell you what, it was one of the reasons why it was called, or the tournament was called, Life or Death Tournament. Although Green Kerr brought back the reason why the fight was called Life or Death Tournament, but before he said what he said, after he almost killed his opponent, Muteba was the one that actually let us know that, listen, this right here, this is Life or Death Tournament, if I'm not mistaken, because at the end of that fight, Muteba versus Meguro, Muteba had to, let me say it again, he had to end Meguro's life in order for him to win that match. Okay, he had to. Muteba is a skilled fighter. Again, he doesn't, fighting him is different. If these two are to face each other, Gaia versus Muteba, watching Gaia's last fight, watching how he fights, the things he did in order to push Psychoski into a corner and force Psychoski to accept defeat or whatnot, it's not the same way fighting Muteba, simply because, first of all, Muteba doesn't see the way normal people sees. Muteba sees through sensory, through vibration, through emotions. Even he sees with people's emotion. Now once the fight starts, I can see, since these two already know each other, because from their interaction on Baki Hanma versus Kengan movie, you can literally see that these two already know each other and know each other's ability. I can see Gaia try to take advantage of Muteba's hearing, because Muteba sees through sound, vibration, movement, and emotions. He might be able to distort Muteba a little bit by vibration, but so long as Gaia will not stand one place, so long as he's going to keep making movements, so long as Gaia is going to be actively thinking, actively using his thoughts, emotions, and movements to try to attack Muteba, Muteba will always be able to counter whatever he's going to try to throw at him. So the way Gaia fights, the way he was attacking Psychoski, it will not work with Muteba, because Muteba is a different animal. Muteba is a different fighter. Although this will be an awesome fight, let me tell you guys, this will be an awesome fight due to the fact these two, they have similar background. They don't like doing something if it's not worth their time, because they have honor, right? But at the same time, they do what must be done to get the job done, even if it means killing their opponent, right? So if these two is to fight, it will be an awesome fight. It will be entertaining. But at the end of the day, I believe that Muteba will be the winner on this one. It's just like, for example, Toph from Avatar: The Last Airbender. You know, somebody who uses sound, someone who uses emotions, someone who uses vibration to see. Fighting such a person is kind of difficult, simply because with your thought, with your thinking, before you even think of what to do, before you even utilize what to do, they already know what you're about to do. How fighting that person, you're gonna first of all be light on your feet. If you bring him using tooth and sand to hit Mutebe with it, before he that can even get to Mutebe, Mutebe will dodge it, so that won't be effective. If Gaia decides to use dust to mask his presence so that um, we won't see, or Mutabe won't see where he is, well, it will not work, simply because Mutabe doesn't have irregular eyes. He doesn't see the way normal people sees, so that won't work. So what will Gaia do to defeat Mutabe? Which is very interesting situation that it will be for Gaia once he figured out that his normal way of fighting will not be the way he's gonna fight this guy. He's gonna have to use a different method. And will he be able to utilize that method effectively well enough before Mutabe defeats him? Right? Now, Gaia might be better on his feet, but Mutabe is also light on his feet and is a skilled fighter. Watching both fights, watching the fight between the two on their various arena, I definitely am saying that Mutabe will definitely win against Gaia on this one. It is no doubt, because now I can hear people saying, "Yo, man, yo, man, yo, man, yo, man, what are you talking about, you man? You are at it again, bro. What are you talking about? Gaia is a beast, y'all. Gaia is a beast, y'all. Did you see what he did to Sikorsky, bro? What are you talking about, man?" Now, if you listen to what I've been saying for the last, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes or so, you can literally see that what Gaia did to Sikorsky only worked simply because Sikorsky sees with his regular eyes. Sikorsky is not adaptable with sound, emotion, and vibration. Sikorsky doesn't see through that glance. Okay, so before you go about, "Yo, Evlog, man, yo, man, you are, come on, man. Baki's fighters are stronger than Kengan fighters, man. What are you talking about, man? Come on, man. Look at the fight again, bro. Yo, man. This guy is, come on, man. Come on. I'm so cheesed, yo. I'm cheesed, bro. Like, what is this guy talking about, man?" Okay. Look at the fight closely. Gaia will not fight Mutabe the way he fought Sikorsky. Unfortunately, he can't. Right? If he goes with the same method how he fought Sikorsky against Mutabe, he will lose the fight within 30 seconds. He will definitely lose that fight within 30 seconds. He's gonna have to find a different method, and even if he finds a different method, he won't be able to be good at it, to use it effectively to fight Mutabe, because it's not every day a fighter runs into another fighter that doesn't see the way he sees, that sees through vibration, through emotions, through sound itself. It's not every day a fighter runs into another fighter that sees that way. It's not every day. I will bet you, out of Gaia's life, all his fights during war, during his arena or whatever, he has not met a fighter who sees through sound, vibration, and emotion. So it's going to be very difficult for Gaia to really adapt to Mutabe's way of fighting. And remember carefully, ladies and gentlemen, this is the reason why I keep telling people, I keep telling you guys, go and watch Kengan Ashura, watch Mutabe's fight carefully. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, the only reason why, okay, The only reason why that fight, Muteba versus Meguro, took longer is simply because Meguro does not feel any pain. Let me say it again. That fight would have ended within maybe 1 minute, right? Or less than 1 minute. But the reason why it took that long is simply because Meguro doesn't have his pain sensor. His pain sensor was turned off. So whatever Muteba was doing to him, which are very effective, very effective, those things can literally disorient or demobilize a fighter from continuing to fight. It was very effective, but because Meguro's sensor, pain sensor, like pain is a thing that we cannot take for granted. Pain is literally vivid. All right, that's why the fight took long. If Meguro's pain sensor was active, that fight would have ended long ago. And you guys see what Muteba had to do. Muteba literally had to break his neck, puncture his eyeballs in order to win that fight. And even before that, he grabbed his crotch and crushed his testicle. Oh, that fight was cringy. That fight was cringy. It was cringy. It was cringy and exciting, ladies and gentlemen. So feel free to let me know what you guys think on the comment section about this. I know if you have an eyes of a fighter, look into their fights. The last fight Gaia had was with Sikorsky. That's where I'm judging his fight from. Not when he fought Baki, but I'm judging his last fight, because and again, the reason why I'm using that as well is simply because he described who Gaia really is. He showed more of Gaia's prowess in fighting, right? He described him a little more, his background, his history, right? That's why I'm using his last fight. And again, I'm also using his last fight simply because, it was the last time he fought. Okay, so Muteba, on the other hand, I'm using his fight with Meguro simply because that fight showed more of Muteba's history, like his background, his determination to win the fight, his tenacity, right, and never giving up ability, right? So and again, let's also understand, due to the fact that Meguro doesn't have his pain sensors, right? Again, as much as Muteba knows where he is and was effectively attacking him, at the same time, it wasn't as effective simply because Meguro has his pain. Like that it mattered a lot on that fight, and that's the reason why that fight went a little longer. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. I believe that in these two fight, it will be entertaining, it will be exciting. It might get to a cringy situation, but it will be a good matchup. So thank you guys for watching. Feel free to share your thoughts on what you think about this video. On that note, don't forget to follow me and support me on TikTok, ladies and gentlemen. TikTok is where I do my martial art videos. It's where I do my fitness videos. It's also where I do pretty much martial art and fitness combined together. Okay, and you can follow me on Rumble. Okay, let me say this. If you guys have any anime that I have done in the past and you would like to watch them with volume, okay, or any anime, for some of you guys that have been with me that know my channel from my very first channel, and there are animes that you've seen me react to with volume, full reactions that you really enjoyed, let me know in the comment section, or follow me on Rumble and send me a message with that anime, and I will post that anime with full video, full everything, the way you guys like it, on Rumble. Okay, so guys, don't forget to support me on Rumble. Don't forget to support me on TikTok. The information I will leave them in the description. Should you still have the need to get the link, or if you can't find it, I linked it to my channel, so all you need to do is to click the tab in the link on my home, look on the top right if I'm not mistaken, and click the link. It will take you to my TikTok or my Rumble channel. Okay, on that note, stay safe, keep on keeping on. See you in the next video.